Okay, hey everyone. If anyone's out there, that is, welcome to the Reseller Happy Hour. This is Brian, aka Texas Treasures. Recently going back to Texas Treasures. Um, and I've just decided recently to get back into YouTube a little bit. And I want to start doing Friday happy hours like we used to. I don't know, about a year and a half ago. Most Fridays, it will be myself, um, Clay's Closet, and we might have another person joining us. Just waiting to hear back from that person. What's up, Scott? Dumpster Diver Dad, the man, the myth, the legend. Um, by the way, last night we had our live show on Kevin's channel, The Thrifting Lounge. Also, we have a podcast, The Reseller Roundtable, on iTunes, Spotify, and other places where we talk all things reselling. And last night's show was pretty good. Kevin hosted that one. And kind of like the point of this show, at least for me, is like I've been going really hard into reselling, or went full time in September of 2020. And pretty much all for the past year I've done nothing but clothing and kind of really focused on that volume game. And honestly, I'm kind of a little burned out. A little burned out, to be honest. And I need a little change. So I'll talk about that today. I'll also show you a little bit of the footage from the storage unit we did. The happy hour, you got to have a drink. Let's see, my friend Ivan. First time I've ever had this. It's a Bodington's Pub Ale, 1 pint. It's a good way to end the work week, or mostly end it. And so my thought is, like on Fridays, get myself something to look forward to, kind of celebrate the week, maybe recap the week, talk about the week, using a lot of weeks here. So that's what we're doing, and it'll be easier normally. I think Clay's going to be on most of them. He can't be here today, and like I mentioned earlier, I think I'm going to have a third host, but I'm just waiting on that commitment. So maybe next Friday. How's it going with you, Scott? What are you up to? I know Scott's in we have a messenger chat, the Reseller Roundtable, and we're always chatting. Like I said earlier, I just did a storage unit with Clay. Gosh, what day was that? All the days run together, Tuesday or Wednesday. And in that storage unit, there were a lot of shoes, and I'll show y'all the video here in a little bit. There were also some suits, and our buddy Kevin, aka the Thrifting Lounge. I know him and Andy are kind of like the suit experts. They know all about the suits. So I've been sharing my listings with those guys for suggestions, improvements, etc. So I just got through listing some suits. I've listed all the shoes from the storage unit. Still have some clothing to get through, and then probably next week. My camera keeps moving around. And then probably next week, look to get another storage unit. Scott just unloaded a haul from the bins. I know Scott's out in California, and he finds some great bins finds. I know he was talking about, I think yesterday, that what was it that you found? A hard good, like gosh, my brain's fried. Something that sold for like $150. I don't know on last night's show if y'all got to the bolo of the week or your best sell of the week. I had to leave out of there about 8:30 Central Time. So I know that's normally something we do on the podcast. We share our sales of the week. All right. So I've been talking about the storage unit. I think, all right, now this was my plan. And another reason for doing storage units is I want a little variety. I'm still going to list clothing, but I also want to find some hard goods, a little bit of the treasure hunting. And I know storage units and auctions can be really good. So I need a little bit of a change, and I want to test out this new model and see how it's going to work. I could always go back just to close if it doesn't turn out to be so great. Oh, excuse me. Also, the thought is it would give me a good niche to create content for YouTube, because I do want to try to do that. Because just reselling, since I've left teaching, I need more hobbies. And so maybe creating some YouTube content could be fun. And so I'm going to try that. And I know storage units could could be a good hobby. Scott said it was a Ninja Food Grill. That's right, a Ninja Food Grill at the bins. I think he sold it for like 150 plus shipping. What a great find at the bins. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right. Oh yeah. Anyway, so I have a GoPro Hero 8 Black. Use the phone, and we did record some footage, but I had only used the GoPro one time before and made a noob rookie mistake. The camera angle is really bad. Like, I had it on my shoulder, and it got my fat hairy face a lot of the frame. So I don't think that would be good to create content with. But I will show you a short clip just to give you an idea of what we found, and then I'll pull up some of the sold comps. And I'm currently kind of like studying other storage unit channels, like What the Hell's, Grimes Finds, which he's in Dallas, and Clay and I, well, Clay and him are good friends. I've met him also, and some of these other storage unit channels. And then we are going to hire a virtual assistant. I've hired virtual assistants in the past to create listings and to do other things for me. Currently, I'm doing all the work, but I'm thinking I want to not fire. God, I haven't even hired her yet, or him. I want to hire a virtual assistant to be a video editor, because I don't want to spend a lot of time editing videos. That's definitely not my strength. So I'm going to find one and try to put out some content. Scott sold it for 140 plus shipping, paid 10, 14x. I think that works all day, every day. All right, so let's go ahead. I'll show you the storage unit we did. And then I looked up some of the comps. I'll show you those as well. Let's see. Where did I put this video? Oh, I got to share the screen. Speak about noobs. We're always messing up sharing the screen. All right. Here we go. Let's share this. And let's pull up the video file. Okay, we actually make sure I found the right one. Yeah, here it is. We took quite a few clips, but here's the beginning of it. All right, we are at least, you can see already off to a horrible start. Fingers all in the camera lens. What the heck? Storage unit? I think this is recording. By the way, look at this. Look at this storage unit. We're in the Dallas area. I think this was in Pantego, north of Arlington. If you're in the Dallas area, you might know where that's at. And this is an old storage unit facility. As a matter of fact, I've never seen a door like this. It was funky. All right. Clay, you want to open the door and see what we got?
Okay, so.
And that's Clay's closet.
This is unit 617. We're in Pantego. We paid what with tax 170.
Yeah, 176 and change.
Not bad at all. Okay.
So yeah, this unit we won for $176. All right. So
it looks exact.
And when I saw this one online, if you can see that, obviously there's a bunch of Nikes and Jordans all right there in the front. And as a shoe and clothing primarily that's, or I've sold that a lot in the past. I'm like, okay, for $176, you know, I'm not going to lose money because I saw Jordans.
Like
the pictures. So what what we saw were these Jordans. We saw some suits. There's a laptop bag over there. So I guess let's start with these shoes right
Yeah.
now. All right, so got a pair of Jordans. Of course, the shoes. So all these shoes, like this unit has dust on it. Like it had probably been sitting there for a while. So a lot of the stuff's a little dusty, but nothing that you can't bring back.
Good shape. Just dusty. Been here a while.
You want to look these up?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get it.
You see, and this is where the video editor will obviously edit this down because we don't want all these pauses and delays.
eBay.
Actually, yeah, the soles are in good shape.
Yeah.
So these are in good. These are what?
What Nike, Jordan.
Yeah, I'll give you the style numbers.
Okay, whenever
378
378
037
037
623.
623. Search. Ooh, okay. Used 141.
And then filter by sold.
Sold 115.
Oh, really good sell-through rate.
115.
All right, nice.
100.
Let's see those results.
71, 100, 249.
So these basically
for the unit.
So I was pretty happy. Like obviously those pair of shoes, and I'll show you some screenshots of the solds. Those pair of Jordans will pay for the whole unit. So everything else is already profit. Paid for the unit, which is why the other unit
249. Like, so what is the?
And this is why I'm not making the video. You can see my big hairy face. Like I've got to get the camera lens in a better position next time.
I mean I don't get why.
It's just different people.
Yeah. Well, it depends how good a shape, I guess, or something.
And I've talked to Clay, like we've got to be a little quicker, like realizing this is going to be YouTube content. Like we can't spend 2 minutes talking about one pair of shoes. Of course, editing will help, but got to be quicker.
But
these will clean up.
Like 170. So far here, I'm going to sort lowest real quick. Let's just see, out of curiosity. Well, box 2541. But I mean, even you're like, then it quickly goes to like 70. Yeah, 100.
I mean, if you get the 100 middle ground.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good.
I just don't know if this is recording. And of course, I wasn't sure. Like I should have done my homework before recording. All right, let's see. Let's look at another. Let me check the chat real quick. Won't have to pay eBay fees on those. Yeah, right. Anything sells over 100, there's no eBay fees. Hey guys, this is Tech. Okay, don't know. I guess I shot the same video twice. Fell.
Ooh. I know that's trademark.
Nike, empty. Maybe. Well, we can put. Maybe it matches. All right. Well, obviously we had already gone through the shoes. Most of the money's in the shoes, so I'll just show you some of the comps here. Because like what I'm thinking in the video while I'm shooting these, that we'll put the solds in. Here, let's open this up. So here are comps on some of the shoes that we found, and I think Scott, you told me about Snap Seller Tool, and the average sale price for these is like 168. So there's that one. There's a pair of Nike Air Jordan Retro 11s, and you see those are selling for about 118. That was also in the unit. A pair of Carucci men's Chukka boots with these buckles, the soft leather. That was also in the storage unit. Those are selling on average for 69. A pair of Magnani leather lace-up wingtips. Those are selling it for an average of 123. Those were also in the unit. So you can see for a unit paid $176 for, with all these shoes, like there's no way you can lose money. Another pair of Nike Air Jordan Retro 12s. These are selling for 119 on average. Found a Nike Air Jordan hoodie. That one on auction went for 35. So should probably be able to get a little bit more on a buy it now. We have a pair of Nike Air Max. They're selling on average for over 100. Another Jordan Flight 23. Only a couple of those. Prices were all over the place, but one sold high, one sold low. So 76 is the average on that one. A Polo Ralph Lauren men's hoodie selling for about 40. So those were some of the big ones. And let me stop sharing. And in addition, like today, I've been listing some of the items that we picked up. I just listed a Levi's, like a vintage Levi's blazer. I think that'll sell for 30, 40, 50 bucks. Clay's playing on the trampoline. Yeah, Clay, I was just kind of setting the stage for what the weekly show is going to be. Also, talking about our storage unit. So typically in a storage unit, you're gonna find a little bit of everything. Depends on the unit. This unit was clothing and shoes, obviously. Like the storage unit I did before this one, there was some jewelry, some sterling silver jewelry, and you get a little mix of everything. And it is more of a gamble, because you don't know 100% what you're going to find, but there are definitely clues which can help guide you on your way. All right, so we're going to be doing more storage units, and that's something I'm looking to do. How's everybody's weekly listings going? Like, what you got any listing goals? What's your work week, reselling work week look like? For me, besides doing the storage unit, I've been listing 20 to 30. I was doing the very precise goal of, I think last week it was 29, so this week it should be 30. But that's when that's based on just focusing on clothing. So if I'm going to be selling everything, I'm probably not going to be able to list as much, because some items I'm going to have to research. So I would say on average, each day I'm doing like 20 pieces of clothing plus another 10 pieces of hard goods on average is what I would guesstimate I'm at. All right, the clues, Scott. Well, there's a lot to it, right? So when you're looking at the pictures, it varies whether you're going to do it in person. Like an in-person auction is going to be different than an online auction, and they both have their pros and cons. Like online auctions, obviously the pros are you can zoom in, you can look things up if you see things. The cons are that there's probably a lot more competition on online auctions. In-person auctions, there's going to be less people there, but you're going to have to make decisions quicker, because typically you only get like maybe a minute to look into the unit and try to figure out what you see and what it's worth. So the things I'm like on that unit, that specific one, well, that's kind of no brainer, because you could see all those Nikes and Air Jordans there. And if one of those Air Jordans is in good condition, it could pay for the whole unit. And and that's what's going to happen. I just listed them today, but that unit will turn profitable pretty quickly. Also, so now what my thought was, I also saw big black garbage bags which were filled with clothing. My inference or my assumption was that, yeah, that last one was online, was that if you're buying a bunch of Jordans and Nike shoes, that type of person typically is also buying Nike athletic wear and athleisure. So I had expected to find like bags filled with Nike shorts, Nike shirts, maybe track suits, things like that. We only found a couple of pieces of Nike apparel. Did find that Nike, not the Nike, the Jordan hoodie. which will be nice. And that one had some stains on it, but I treated it today. I think those stains are going to come out. So there is always risk. Like if those bags in that storage unit would have been filled with all Nikes, and Clay and I, we did a unit year and a half ago, and it was like that. It was filled with nothing but Adidas, Nike, designer jeans. And that unit we paid like 100 for, and that unit probably bought me 2-3 thousand. My best unit ever, and I do have a video on my channel. If you look under, I think I have a playlist of storage unit finds. I've only done a couple of videos there. It was a Nike unit. Well, I call it the Nike unit, but it was filled with brand new dead stock Nikes. And I also had brand new Nike headbands, new in bag. And I got that unit for $100, and it probably made me about 10 grand. So other things you want to look for at a storage unit, obviously, if you see vintage electronics, you can look at if you can see a cord, you could tell by the cord if it's old, if it's recent. Are the boxes, do they have nice boxes? Do they have nice totes? Are they stacked neatly? Which the inference there is somebody that's spending money on nice boxes, on nice totes. Well, they probably have good stuff and they care about their stuff and they're taking care of it. So that's an inference you can make. If you see dust on the boxes or the totes, that means that unit probably hasn't been opened up in a long time for that dust to accumulate. And a lot of dust you could find more vintage items, which are valuable. Yeah, so those are some of the clues. There's others, but off the top of my head, those are some of the things you're looking for. And there is always a little element of a gamble, because you never know exactly what you're going to find in there. As a matter of fact, Clay found a very fun little toy that he took home for himself. Let's see. Clay says, my assumption it was going to be meh clothes. So it's funny he and I thought, yeah, well, Clay always sets himself up to not get his hopes up. I don't think he wants to get let down. Whereas I'm the opposite. If I see evidence that things are going to be good, I'm going to manifest that. And I will say 90% of the time, like I've never lost money on a storage unit, and I've only done 10, and I know I'm making them sound great, but they are a lot of work. There is a lot of physical work. When you go into those units, you have to, you got to see what you got, and then you got to divide them into piles, for sure things you want to sell. Like to me, it's things you want to sell on eBay or online, things that are for sure trash, things that maybe you want to sell at a flea market, a garage sale, an auction, maybe, or you want to donate it. So you got to divvy that up. You got to clean out the unit. A lot of units are going to have furniture and heavy items, which is partially why Clay and I are doing this together. So if you have two guys, you can obviously process and clean out a storage unit a lot faster than if it was just a single person. Like if you scale up this model, which is, Clay and I have been talking about that, this is where eventually you're going to need a van or a box truck, and you're going to need some labor or some guys, some muscle to help you process a big 10 by 20 unit, a 10 by 30 unit. Clay says, I say that based on the suits we could see. Well, you can't really tell what the suits were. Now, there were no amazing suits in there for sure. But, I've listed two of them. An Izod wool suit, comps on that are 30 to 40. The Levi's action suit, which is vintage, comps on that are like 40 to 50. So, we want to find suits when we do suits that go for over 100 like Kevin does. But it's okay. If you figure out your cost per goods on a storage unit, all the pieces that you're getting, and if you divided it up, like typically your cost of goods are very low. And that's the model that I'm going to go into currently, is the bulk model. Because anytime you can get a lot of goods at a low price, then your cost of goods are very low. I don't know what you're saying. No, I didn't, Clay. I just truly based on those suits. They didn't look great. I was going to be happy with the shoes. Well, that's the thing. So here's another rule of thumb, and there, I have squirrel brain. Like I've done so many different types of reselling, and I like variety. So there was a period where I was doing storage units. I was the first person to buy Wade's Ventures storage unit class, and I took it, and it was actually really good. I learned a lot, and I've done about 10 storage units. And I will say, if oh yeah, this is my point. One of the things I learned is based on the things that you see, kind of calculate what you can get for those. And the strategy is don't bid higher than what you know for sure you can sell it for, because there's going to be a lot of items that you can't see. That's just a pure mystery. But if you know you at least break even with the goods that you can see and that you are selling, well, everything else is a bonus. And typically there are really good items that you just can't see. Yeah, Clay, we've been talking about eventually getting a A-team type van, like the vintage show, the A-team, like a big cargo van, and put Texas Treasures on the side. Maybe have a mural, something wild. But that's us being goofy. Maybe one of these days. Clay said he let me have the suit. Yeah, suits are not my forte, and they're not fun to list. You got to take more measurements. Like the measurements I take, like on most shirts, I just do the chest and then the length. But on suits, I do chest, shoulders on the back, sleeve length, and then length of the blazer or the suit jacket. And then you got to take a few more pictures, but it's not that big of a deal, to be honest. But it's not they're definitely not my favorite thing to list. But suits, like Kevin, the thrifting line, just always talks about, suits can really have a high return on your investment. Yeah, once I sell, and since we split the unit, we're about $90 each into it. So once I sell one of my pair of shoes, like I'm already probably profitable, or at least broken even. Yeah, I do have a what would you say? It's a complicated relationship with suits. Love them and I hate them. If I was selling more like Kevin and Andy, I'd probably love them a little bit more. And I know Kevin's going to look at some of my listings and review them to see if there's keywords I'm missing or advice that he has. So that's kind of like the big plan. Like for this week, been listing 20 to 30. We did a storage unit this week. I want to do more storage units in the future, which means the items I'm going to be reselling are going to change a little bit. Like I've been doing nothing but clothing, and almost every storage unit has clothing, so I'll still be doing clothing, but I will also have the opportunity to find hard goods, to find jewelry. Like the unit before this one, I found several sterling silver bracelets. I ordered a jewelry testing kit so I can test to see if diamonds are real or not. I ordered a jewelry magnet, like use these really heavy magnets, because if a piece of jewelry is gold plated or silver plated, if it's not pure, the magnet the magnet will attract it. Whereas if it's pure, the magnet will not. And it also has some chemical testing agents. So we need to be able to test some of this jewelry, because I've already found several of them. Like one of them is here, I'll show you. Let me find it. I'll show you one of the pieces of jewelry from the unit previous that has been sitting in here in a tote for probably 6 months. I think I did this one during the summer, and I forgot about this tote. So I just recently listed it. So here, I'll show you. This is a nice find. So I'm going to show you this. And these are the types of things that you can find in storage units. And of course, there's things like you can find cash, you could find a safe. All right, so I'm sharing my screen. So yeah, this, of course, that turquoise is a little scuffed up when you zoom in on it, but still, this is a sterling 925 sterling silver, the initials S-Ray. I looked it up, and comps on these with this Native American motif, we're going for like 200 to 400. So I've got this one listed at $299.99. I think I already have a watcher or two on it. So and also I need to test the stone. I assume this stone right here is cubic zirconia, but once I get the tester kit, who knows, that might turn out to actually be a diamond. So if it's an actual diamond, well, obviously the value of that bracelet will go up. And in that backpack, I think I found 4 sterling silver bracelets. And like I said, I need to test the stones because a couple of them look like they might have diamonds or cubic zirconias, but I don't know the difference. Let me catch up on the chat. And thanks everybody for showing up. This is the first one. I know there's only a few people watching, but I want to just be consistent and start doing these. And I appreciate Scott, Clay, and anyone else out there that's taking time to drop by. Thumbs up are always appreciated. Yeah, talking about the suits. I would hate it doing the suits. Come on, Scott. Thrift Up. Thanks for stopping by. He said, just bought my first storage unit a week or so ago. It was a blast. Tell me about it. What's the best thing you found in there, Thrift Up? And why did you purchase that unit? Like what's the quick rundown on that? Storage units are fun. Like for me, like I was saying earlier, I've been doing nothing but clothing. I mean, my YouTube channel was Dr. Denim. I just recently changed it because I have nothing but denim, and denim is very profitable. Use jeans, men's or women's. I was burned out. I was bored, to be honest, and I almost feel like a trader because I'm in Tech and Sports and Daily Refinements Facebook group, which I do think is great. And we focus on efficiency and niching down. And now I'm kind of going against the grain. But I do want to talk about this, Clay. And I talked about this on the Reseller Roundtable podcast last night a little bit. Even though I didn't talk a lot last night, Kevin was carrying the show last night, which is, I guess, another good reason to have your own weekly live show. Oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. I remember. So that group is almost at 2,000 people, and this is a paid group. And that group really, there's a lot of knowledge I've gained, and I basically tripled my sales on eBay from being in that group. So that group is amazing. I'm staying in the group, but that group does preach efficiency and niching down. But like I've been bored. Oh, and Clay sources for me. Like I'll pay him, X amount per item that he brings me. And I was listing like 200 items a week, 200 pieces of clothing a week on average. But what Clay would tell me is like, hey, I saw so-and-so at the bins, this person at the bins, they've just joined the group, or they're about to join the group, or they're learning about clothing. And so my thesis is the power of that group, because most people just like to copy. They want a blueprint because Tech and Chris sell clothes. Most people, probably 95% of the people in the group sell clothes, including myself. I mean, clothes are very plentiful and they're typically cheap to get, and you can make a good profit. So clothes are great, right? But with more and more people joining that group and going into clothing reselling, I think I'm going to zig while they zag, and we'll see. And like I said earlier, I can always switch back to pure clothing if it's not working out. All right, let's check out what Thrift Up said. He said, I sell clothes well. Saw clothes on there, got the unit for 30 or so, worth the risk because I know. Yeah, as a clothes reseller, that is a great place to get clothing because you will find these units, especially the small units, if they're primarily clothing, that you can get bags and bags of clothing for cheap, or in that case, very cheap. And so your cost of goods is going to be under $1 a piece. I know when we did a unit about a year ago, probably had 300 pieces of Nike, Adidas, and other clothing for $100. So you're paying like plus some hard goods. So you're probably paying like 20 cents per piece, and you just can't beat that. So yeah. Thrift Up said, found some gold cufflinks and silver jewelry. Just have to see if they are in fact real. Yep, get that jewelry testing kit. I ordered mine today on eBay. I'm like, well, no, not eBay. Actually on Amazon. If I'm going to be doing storage units consistently, and I do think consistency is the key to success in everything, whether it's YouTube, reselling, fitness, beer drinking, whatever. Anybody out there drinking at the reseller happy hour? Let me know what you're having. You're not a trader. I do kind of feel like a trader. Like normally I kind of speak up on the morning calls, and I've been quiet. Like I'm like, don't call on me. I don't want to talk about what I'm doing. I'm like whistling, looking the other way. Do 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 do. That's funny. I do feel like a trader. Make the great tasting cool. They make great. Yeah, exactly. And we even joke in the group. It is kind of like a cult. Yeah, it kind of like is a cult, but a good cult. Nobody's drinking Kool-Aid there. Yeah, Thrift Up, right? And it's only gonna. I think it's only gonna get worse with the group. Yeah, which I still think there's enough clothing out there for everyone. If you're only sourcing at traditional thrift stores for clothing, it's worse. But like where I'm at, there's so many ways to source garage sales, flea markets, bins, thrift stores, estate sales. Like, try to get off the beaten path. I bought pallets from Matt, aka Drunk Yard Dog, that used to be in the morning call. Matter of fact, Clay got some of those jeans too. Thrift Up says, I'm still going to hit up my closed listings and add fun on side. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm like this hybrid model. Like, I do the morning call, I do my shipping, and what I'm currently doing between the time I finish shipping, which this morning was about 10 a.m., until lunchtime at around noon, I do hard goods. So for about 2 hours, I worked on hard goods. I had lunch. After lunch, I then got my clothing listings in. And I don't know if it's just the variety of it, but I really enjoyed listing the hard goods. I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't done it in a long time. So we'll see where it goes. But clothing is easy to list, and it's also fun to get some of the other stuff. Buy costs go down compared to local Goodwill, where the price, yikes. Yeah, ain't no way. $6 a piece. Yikes. Gotta find somewhere cheaper. Let's see, Clay says, go to the bins, but to sell locally like I have twice now will be the easiest money and no real effort. That'll mix good with our units and get me fast cash. Well, yeah, that's one strategy. We've talked a lot about this. We've talked about this in the group, that obviously you can maximize the money by selling it online. What I would do, Clay, is just cherry pick those best pieces and list those yourself. Or like if it's good pieces, I'll still buy them for you. Maybe even pay you a little bit more. So we'll have to talk about that, depending on how much you get from the other places. But a lot of bread and butter. If you're getting that quick cash flow, there's nothing wrong with that. But it hurts me leaving money on the table personally. Yeah, Clay, Uber's some, and maybe for source for someone else in the group. I don't know. It makes me feel weird. Like it's like I don't want to quite give up what I have been doing because it's been successful, but I want to try it. So right now, that's just kind of on a pause while I'm trying to figure out, what this model is going to look like. It's going to be some combination of clothing, but if we're able to get good clothing from storage units, then that's key. Consistency is definitely key in all things. Pricing my clothes lower so they sell faster. Yep, for sure. I think on the call last week, getting rid of your clothes fast. Yeah, we talked about that on our podcast, the Reselling Roundtable. By the way, if you want another reselling podcast to listen to, check us out, Reselling Roundtable, Spotify, iTunes, and other places. But that was last week's topic, fast nickel or slow dime. And We talked a lot about that, and if it's in clothing in particular. And Mark Meyer, I was re-listening to interview he had with Pure Hustle podcast, and Mark Myers buys lots of auctions, not just storage unit. He does all types of auctions. He's a big auction buyer, and that's kind of what I want to base my new business model on, which is buying in bulk, because you get things really cheap, and then moving those items. And what he was saying is his selling philosophy is based on storage space, and that is a big factor, right? If you have a giant warehouse and you're getting the items cheap, you can just sit on it and slow dime it as long as you want if you have the storage space and isn't costing you a fortune. You can get all the money. But in general, if an item like a t-shirt doesn't take up a lot of storage space, it's okay to slow dime that. This is what Mark Meyer says. I'm just kind of summarizing it. You can slow dime that, but if an item is bigger, like a hard good, let's say you bought a bicycle at there was a bike in a storage unit auction that you won, and that's taken up a lot of space in your storage. Well, that you're going to want a fast nickel. And so there's definitely some logic there, and I see that, and I can agree with that. And I think also if your cost of goods are cheap, it gives you more flexibility where you can definitely take less than max. I would not bottom out on the market, if you don't need to, but definitely something to keep in mind. Thrift, I have to hop up because we're out of town to see some family. We'll have some drinks as well. Bummed I have to miss the rest. Well, thanks for dropping by, Thrift Up. It was good talking to you. Have a great weekend. Have one for me. Cheers to you. Anyone else out there on this Friday happy hour? Catch you on the next one. Fridays at 4 p.m. Central. Buy them cheap. That's always a good model. Clay says that's what I've done when I went to the bins and garage for myself. I found old stuff. Matt, my man, eBay Posh Man in the house. This dude knows how to flip shoes. It's funny, like there was a period where I was doing nothing but shoes. I do love shoes as well. He says, sorry, got here late, eating some Japanese food with the family. I love some Japanese food. What you got, some sushi? What do you have exactly, Matt? Tell me about it. And check out Matt's channel if you want to up your game, up your shoe game, because Matt does great in the shoe game, and he has some really good content. Charlie Brown, thanks for dropping by today, Charlie. Clothes are my least favorite to list, but coats are my big money. I used to feel the same way. Kind of what I've learned is a lot of listing, it's kind of in your mind. I used to feel exactly the same thing. I hate it. I guess maybe it's just because it's boring to list clothing, but there's so much profit in clothing. And coats, yeah, coats are big money. Shoes can be big money. Oh, Clay, I don't know if you're still there. Found Morano, which is not a great brand at all. I think that's a Target brand, but it is a wool pea coat. And I picked that thing. This was in the storage unit. I wasn't thinking much of it, but comps on that are like $49, $59. So I think I got mine listed at $69, and that was in the storage unit. So all these things are going to add up. Yeah, definitely some good money in coats. Island Girl Rum, drink here. Toast to you, Charlie. Sounds delicious. That doesn't sound bad being on an island with a girl drinking rum either. Both are great. Matt's having some hibachi chicken and shrimp. You got to get some of that. What's that yum yum sauce? Man, I love it. And my daughter, man, we love the yum yum sauce. Dip that shrimp and chicken in there. Get a little bit of the rice. Do love some Japanese. Now you're making me hungry, Matt. I think you should sell that shirt fast too. Trying to think of what shirt. That's the only problem with the chat is sometimes I'm a little bit behind on the chat. Once again, Charlie's in the house. People are saying hello. The bins. Now there was a period, Matt, where I did the bins just for shoes. Clay and I, we've sourced a lot together. Like we would get a cart each, and we'd be both on each end of a bin, these big blue bins, and we would go down it. We would pull all the shoes because at our bins, at least the Fort Worth bins, that the shoes were not usually matched. Maybe a third of the time, or maybe a half the time, you'd find the shoes together. So you would get them all, go through all the shoe section, find a corner, and match up the shoes that were worth getting. And the heartbreaking part is when you find a pair of Lucchese boots or just a really nice pair of shoes, but you can only find one. Like many a time found like a Hoka 1-1 in mint condition, but could only find one. And I know you can sell a single shoe. Definitely more of a slow dime on that one, but heartbreaking. Wool and down. Yep. And Clay says, I divided the clothes in your favor. Oh, well, thank you, Clay. I'll just leave it at that. Thank you. Clay and I are trying to do this reselling team thing. Let's see, Matt. Even the clothes, do you have to be one of the first ones there, or can you find stuff anytime? Anytime, because they're constantly bringing out new bins. Each Goodwill outlet is different. They're all managed differently. They're not all the same. But what I try to do is get there right when they open, because it's either new goods or it's the stuff from the end of the day. And a lot of times at the end of the day, people aren't there either. And I can make a circuit through all the clothing. It takes me about 90 minutes. Really efficient at that. Scoop out all the bread and butter plus any good pieces. And then I'm out of there with, typically, when I'm sourcing, it's 100 to 150 pieces I can find in 90 minutes. And it's obviously cheap and easy. Let's see. Scott says, I sold Yum Yum on Amazon. Man, send some Yum Yum my way. Gotta love the Yum Yum. People want their Yum Yum, and they want it fast. Gotta get it next day. Charlie says, or you face down the seller holding the other book. Now, I will tell you an interesting story about that. Clay, I don't know if you're with me when this happened. I don't think you were. I went to the Fort Worth bins. I found a Tory Burch, and I usually don't do women's shoes, but I saw a Tory Burch, and that was a no-brainer. I forget, like a Pump or a Mary Jane, and I picked it up. It was like red, real pretty red leather with a gold Tory Burch logo. And then this lady comes up to me. She goes, "Oh, I have the other one." And she said, and this was when I was first starting to go in the bins. She goes, "You want to rock paper scissors for them?" I'm like, "No, but I'll give you $10 for yours." And then, like, I guess, I don't know if I violated Ben's etiquette by not doing what she asked. Like, she rolled her eyes and poof, she goes, "Here, you can have it." I'm like, "Okay." And I think I sold them for 80 or $90. I'm too competitive. Well, I don't know. I guess, I don't know, but yeah, you can stare down people, or you can negotiate, or you can rock paper scissors, or you can buy someone off, or you could fight, or however you want to do it. Yeah, I've trained Clay up. Like, when he goes to the bins now, like he like when he was first going for me, like I gave him the list of what to look for, and then there was a lot of messaging back and forth to make sure we were on the same page. But over time, less and less, and like now it's pretty rare that we would have to reach out. Yeah, you can learn clothing quickly if you're just doing it consistently. And going back to the theme of consistency, you can master anything, I think, with consistency. I think a lot of people, just when things get hard, they give up or they switch to something else, which, I am worried about that. Like, am I switching from just clothes to storage units? Am I making a mistake? I don't know. Yeah, the bins can be good. It's a whole different life there. I know a lot of people are scared. I mean, I would just put some earbuds in, and like when I'm at the bins, it's just like right where I'm at. I kind of zone everyone else out, and just handle my business. It's not that bad. Of course, I'm a big guy, so I don't think too many of those. Now, I'll tell you that from my experience, some of the fiercest people, and I'll say this, my wife is Mexican, and we joke about this. I'm like some of the scariest people are the older Mexican ladies there, because man, they are kind of ruthless. Like you'll have to kind of like stand up to them. Charlie said, "I'm a Texas boy, live in Ohio now, but miss T Goodwill Computer." Oh yeah, you know what? I've never actually been there. I've seen that. I've seen that place on the maps when I'm looking at Goodwills. And I've always kind of been curious if that was a good place to source. But by the fact that you're saying you miss it, I'm thinking, well, it might be. So maybe I need to check that out. The Goodwill store, the computer Goodwill store, definitely. All right. Clay says that computer store, one in City Place area, closed, I think. Also closed at Dolly Python across the street the other day. Matt says, even with clothes from the bins, you get them so cheap you can flip them quick. My wife is Hispanic too. All right. You know, Matt. You know. Yeah, the bins are cheap, garage sales are cheap, storage units are cheap. You know. It's okay to pay up on items if you know what you're doing and what you're sourcing and you know what the market is. Oh, it is closed down. Okay. That makes sense. And plus I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole and start a whole another another niche. Oh. Let's see. How you doing, Thrift and Debt? Thanks for dropping by the Reseller Happy Hour. Wish there were bins near me. Where are you at? What part of the country are you in? Thrifting Debt. We're pretty fortunate in the DFW. There's two within 45 miles of me, like one in Fort Worth and one in Dallas, Ohio. Yeah, there's somebody in our group that mentioned that, or is it Andy? Is Andy? I think Andy in the reseller roundtable. I think he's in Ohio, and I know he has limited sourcing as well. I think, like, if I had limited sourcing like that, what I would probably do is pick a day and even travel, even if it was a couple 100 miles, just write off all those miles, get up super early, get there when they open, probably make a day of it, stock up, get 200 pieces or more, and be set. And of course, the price per pound at the bins varies around the country, but it's so cheap. Um, yeah, it's sometimes, like, actually this past spring break, we went to Big Bend National Park in West Texas, and I actually my first stop there was a thrift store, because if you're now I'm not a CPA, but if you're doing business activity, there are tax deductions there. So oftentimes when I'm vacationing, Colorado, wherever we end up going, I will do a little bit of sourcing real quick too. Take care, all of you. Keep hustling, everyone. Going to do some late night listing. Get those shoes listed, Matt. Let us know about the sales. One on Bryce Road and C-Bus. Right on, right on. So where does everyone source at? I know we're talking bins, we're talking storage units, garage sales like some Friday mornings or Saturday mornings here in the DFW. Pretty much garage sales are year round. That's always kind of fun to hit up. You have estate sales. What else? What am I missing? Flea markets are a really good place to source if you got a good flea market near you. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking off the top of my head. Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, might be worth a trip. 20 miles away. That's just a short drive to get some good inventory for sure. For sure. All right, I have finished my drink. And I think next Friday, Clay will be on. And like I mentioned previously, I think we're going to have a third person on the reseller happy hour, but I'm waiting for them to confirm. So I don't want to say anything until they do, but it'll be a little bit easier with a few hosts versus me trying to run the show all by myself. Charlie says, I'm a year sell and flea. I do the bid multi-state yard sales. Okay. So flea markets, bid. Yeah, you can do like auction sites. Yeah, not last summer, like I guess it was 2 summers ago. I did nothing but auctions, like high bid and a couple of other auction sites, and that carried me through the pandemic. Um, and found some really interesting pieces. Like I called it like the haunted dress. I found this old Victorian dress from the late 1800s at an auction. I think I got it for like $5 or $10, and it sold for about 140, I believe. Found a Ronald McDonald vintage doll. Same thing, $5 or $10. It sold for 50 or 60. So you can definitely find some cool things at auctions. And that's what Clay and I were talking about. Like, if you're going to do storage units and volume, you got to figure out like what are you list, but there's still a lot of stuff that has value, but maybe it doesn't make sense to list. So how are you going to make some money on that? Are you going to take them to an auction house? Maybe do live auctions on YouTube. I think that might be a good thing. I'm obviously going to have to build up my channel because I don't have the following right now. I don't think that would go so great. But and I'm also thinking maybe I can wholesale resellers from, because you can definitely come into large quantities of different things. So all these pieces are going to have to figure out. Thrifting near Grove City. Hey, that's the rum is working good on the reseller happy hour. That is a badge of honor. I know I finished my pint, and since there's no one else on the show, I'm not going to go get a second one. But a second pint would not be bad on Friday. And let's see, this week on eBay, like my sales have been down. I think they're down month over month, like 5%. Let me pull it up real quick. Yeah, I think like 5%. And I think, but I also do sell on some other platforms. Like it's down 6.5%. I also sell on Facebook Marketplace and Poshmark, and a lot of that stuff I sell on there is new replenishables. In sales on those two platforms are up. Typically, like eBay, the pre-owned stuff is like 2/3 of my gross, and then Facebook and Poshmark and occasionally OfferUp. Like I use a lot of different platforms, but eBay's my main thing, and it's been down, but that makes sense because people are Christmas shopping, and the pre-owned clothing, which is most of my store still, people are not really buying that right now. I do expect that to pick up once Christmas is over and people get gift cards, and then later income tax, people will start, I think, shopping for themselves. Thrifting Debt is in Galloway, neighbors with Charlie Brown. All right, got a reseller team up there in Ohio. Nice. Where's everyone else from? Like Clay and I are in the Dallas area. I know Scott. I don't know if Scott's still here, but he's in California, and I know he kills it at the bins. He does. He does. Yep. Like I don't know where any of that is, but apparently Charlie and Thrifting Debt are near each other. Clay, did you see the video I showed at the beginning? Like at the very beginning, I showed one of the video clips because we were gonna create a YouTube video, and I was gonna use that footage to test a video editor that I want to hire on onlinejobs.ph to do YouTube editing, because for storage units, there's going to be a lot of editing to make those neater. But the camera angle was horrible. But I was going to show Clay kind of like what we saw, but maybe he's not here right now. Charlie's up 5.3, up 97. Wow, if 5% is up almost 10 grand, dang, what are you grossing? It's a massive amount. Because I think my 30-day on eBay it's only at 14,000. So if you're up that much, congratulations. Yep, talking about the honey hole. Yeah, y'all should catch up. Do a real resellers happy hour in person. That would definitely be cool. All right, looks like we've been on for about an hour. If anybody got any questions in the chat? I don't really have much else. I think typically on Sundays I make what sold video for the week, top 20 items that sold. So that should be coming out Monday, where I'll list my 20 best sells of the week. In the group, Tech and Chris's group, I also host the book club, where we typically read business books, entrepreneur books, that can relate to reselling and just kind of personal development. I know Monday we're starting a new book, The Midnight Library, which is actually a fiction piece, but it relates to like happiness and choices and fate, some themes that are kind of relevant. And then once we do the next storage unit, get some footage, hopefully hire a VA over the next few weeks and start getting some storage unit content going. Charlie says not up last 31 days. Okay. Oh, last 31 days, 90 something, right at 10K. Nice. Good job, man. Good job. All right, guys. Well, if anybody doesn't have anything else, I think I'm out of words, out of topics. So thank you, everyone that dropped by. Check it. By the way, if you haven't, please smash the like button, subscribe if you want more content. Next Friday and moving on, we will have the Reseller Roundtable. We'll have a couple of other co-hosts on here where we can have a cold drink and talk about our week in reselling. So thanks, everybody, for coming out, and we'll see you on the next one.